Today on December 17th, if you skip this, Archangel Michael won't survive. A powerful blue demon has captured him and he will only release Michael if you open this. God says, "Chosen one, everyone in heaven is counting on you, hurry we don't have much time left. My beloved child, listen without blinking, because this moment was written long before you were born, and heaven has been holding its breath for you. Something huge is waiting for you, and it is not a coincidence that your eyes landed here today. Right now, beyond the veil you cannot see, the skies are trembling. A powerful blue force has crossed a forbidden boundary, and Archangel Michael, yes, the warrior who has protected you in battles you never knew you were fighting, is restrained in a realm where time bleeds away strength. Heaven is silent because every angel is watching you. This message exists because there is only one door left that can be opened, and your presence here is the key. If you feel pressure in your chest, if your heart is racing for no reason, it is because your soul recognizes the urgency of this call. The truth is heavy, and it cannot be softened. The captor feeds on hesitation, on scrolling, on doubt. Every second of delay tightens the hold, and the balance between light and darkness leans toward collapse. Michael's voice was silenced, but his strength was not taken, because it is tied to yours. You were chosen not for power, not for perfection, but for obedience in moments when others look away. Heaven has seen your quiet endurance, the nights you stood alone, the times you kept going when no one clapped for you. This is why the signal reached you and not millions of others. Do not underestimate what is unfolding right now. Destinies are not changed with noise, they are changed with attention. Hear this carefully and do not dismiss it as imagination. The moment you stay, the moment you listen, a chain weakens. The moment you believe, a gate shifts. This is not fear, this is responsibility awakening inside you. You are not being asked to fight, you are being asked to witness, to stand present when heaven calls your name. Let doubt fall away, because doubt is the last weapon being used against you. Remain here, because what comes next will reveal why this day, this hour, and this message were sealed for you alone. Amen. Blessing. Chosen one, the moment you stayed, the atmosphere shifted. Heaven felt it instantly. Something huge is waiting for you, and it is moving closer now because you did not turn away. The blue force holding Archangel Michael reacted the second your attention locked onto this message, because attention is not small, it is authority. What they never wanted you to understand is this: your awareness weakens what darkness tries to hide. This is why you were warned not to skip. This is why the call felt urgent. Heaven does not panic, but today heaven is alert, because what happens next depends on your steadiness, not your fear. God says your name is echoing across realms you cannot see. Angels are not crying out of weakness, they are waiting information. Michael has faced wars, storms, and ancient rebellions, yet this moment is different because it involves a human choice. The blue captor cannot hold what is being witnessed, and the chains respond to belief like iron responds to fire. If you feel a sudden calm replacing anxiety, that is not random, it is alignment. Your role is not loud, but it is precise. Stay present, because presence is the signal that unlocks the next phase. Now listen carefully, because this is critical. The next revelation will explain why your life has felt delayed, why obstacles appeared right before breakthroughs, and why protection surrounded you even when answers did not. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was forgotten. The moment you remain here, the countdown changes direction. Do not rush, do not doubt, do not leave, because what comes next reveals the hidden agreement made over your destiny before this day ever arrived. Amen. Blessing. Beloved one, something ancient is unfolding now, and it is responding only because you are still here. Something huge is waiting for you, and heaven is no longer silent. The moment you crossed into this part, a sealed memory began to surface, one that explains why your spirit has always felt older than your years. Long before this day, before this body, your soul agreed to recognize the call when it arrived. That is why this message feels familiar, like a truth you forgot but never lost. This is not rescue by force, this is restoration by recognition. The blue presence cannot endure clarity, and clarity has entered the space. Understand this gently but firmly. Archangel Michael is not weak, he is restrained by law, not power. Certain realms respond only when a chosen human stands as witness. That witness is you. Heaven has guarded your path, redirected dangers, delayed outcomes, and protected your name because this moment required you to still be standing. Every delay you cursed was actually preparation. Every closed door refined your discernment. Now that discernment is active. The atmosphere is shifting because alignment has begun, and alignment is louder than fear. Stay with this truth and let it settle. You are not alone, you were never late, and you were never overlooked. The next moment carries a revelation about why your future changes after today, not slowly, not symbolically, but decisively. Do not question why you were chosen. Simply remain. What comes next explains the mark placed upon your life and why heaven moved when you did. Amen. Blessing. Chosen soul, pause and feel this shift, because something huge is waiting for you and it is no longer distant. The instant you arrived here, a higher signal was released, and heaven recognized your consistency. Not everyone stays this long. Not everyone listens when the pressure rises. That is why this moment carries weight. What held Michael is weakening, not through force, but through alignment. Heaven works through order, and order responds when the chosen one remains steady. This is why your presence matters more than action. This is why silence just turned into movement behind the veil. Now hear this carefully, because this is where many miss their assignment. God says when truth reaches you, it must not stop with you. When light is revealed, it multiplies when acknowledged. This is not about noise. It is about agreement. When you let others witness what you are witnessing, the resistance fractures faster. When your voice affirms what heaven is doing, the grip loosens further. This is not instruction, it is alignment. Those who recognize the moment become part of the release. Heaven responds to unity, not isolation. Stay grounded now, because the next phase accelerates. What comes next explains the unseen authority placed upon your words and why your affirmation carries unusual weight. Do not rush past this moment, seal it. Let the truth settle, let belief anchor, and let agreement form. The countdown is shifting because of you. What follows will change how you understand your role forever. Amen. Blessing. Chosen one, the moment you reached this point, a threshold was crossed. Something huge is waiting for you, and now it is responding instead of resisting. The realm where Archangel Michael is held has begun to fracture, not violently, but precisely. This is how true change happens. Heaven does not rush, it confirms. Your consistency has confirmed the signal. What once felt heavy is now unstable, and the blue force can no longer fully anchor itself. You may feel a strange stillness, as if time slowed for a breath. That is not imagination. That is a lock disengaging. This is the truth few are ever told. Rescue in higher realms is not about strength alone, it is about authorization. Authorization flows through recognition. The reason your life carried unexplained protection is because your awareness was being preserved for this hour. Even when you doubted yourself, heaven did not doubt you. Even when you felt unseen, you were being observed. Now that observation has turned into response. Michael's presence is stirring because the agreement that held him is weakening, and agreements collapse when their witness awakens. Remain steady. Do not look for signs outside, this work is happening beyond the surface. What comes next will reveal what is released after Michael, and why this moment is not the end, but the beginning of a realignment that reaches into your own future. Stay here. Stay clear. Stay open. The shift has already begun. Amen. Blessing. Beloved witness, now listen with full attention, because something huge is waiting for you and it is unfolding in layers. The resistance you could not see has reached its limit. What held Archangel Michael is no longer in control of time, and when time loses obedience, release becomes inevitable. This is why you may feel an unexpected calm or a sudden clarity right now. Heaven is not asking you to imagine, heaven is confirming that alignment has been established. Your role is active simply because you remain present. Here is what shifts now. When a gate weakens, it does not close again the same way. The blue force did not anticipate endurance. It anticipated distraction. It anticipated you leaving before understanding your weight. That mistake has consequences. Heaven marks moments like this as turning points, and turning points do not reverse. Michael's strength is returning in waves, not as conflict, but as restoration. This is not spectacle, this is order being restored exactly where it was interrupted. Stay anchored, because what comes next explains why this event echoes into your personal timeline. This was never only about Michael, it was about revealing what has been quietly assigned to you next. The revelation ahead will clarify why your life shifts after today, even if the world around you looks the same. Remain. This alignment is still unfolding. Amen. Blessing. Chosen one, understand this now, something huge is waiting for you, and it is no longer hidden. The moment has moved from preparation into confirmation. Heaven has acknowledged your endurance, and when heaven acknowledges, reality adjusts. The space around Archangel Michael is no longer sealed, it is thinning. Not breaking loudly, not collapsing dramatically, just losing authority. Darkness never announces when it is losing. It pretends nothing is happening. But heaven sees everything clearly, and heaven has already recorded this moment as a reversal. Here is the truth that shifts everything. Your presence here was not reaction, it was recognition. Recognition activates laws older than fear. This is why the blue force cannot regain control. It depended on isolation, on making you feel like one voice does not matter. But one aligned witness outweighs chaos. Michael's restraint is dissolving because the condition that sustained it no longer exists. Heaven does not rush the release, it confirms it. And confirmation has already happened. Remain steady, because the next phase reveals the unseen exchange that took place when you chose to stay. What was held back from your life begins to move forward after this point. Not all at once, not loudly, but decisively. You are not watching a story, you are standing inside a turning point. Stay present. What comes next will explain what shifts for you. Amen. Blessing. Beloved one, something huge is waiting for you, and now it is drawing near with certainty. This is the stage where silence becomes signal. Heaven has moved from watching to responding, and that shift is irreversible. The realm that restrained Archangel Michael is no longer stable because stability requires agreement, and agreement has been withdrawn. You may feel an inner assurance rising without effort, as if something long overdue is finally aligning. That is not emotion, that is confirmation. Heaven does not announce victory, it establishes it. Understand this clearly. The moment you stayed through every layer, you disrupted a cycle meant to repeat. Cycles survive on forgetfulness. You remembered. You remained. You recognized. That recognition carries weight across realms. The blue force did not anticipate continuity, and continuity dismantles control. Michael's presence is no longer suppressed, it is transitioning from restraint to readiness. When readiness returns, outcomes change quietly but permanently. Heaven has already adjusted the record. Hold this awareness now, because the next revelation explains the exchange that occurred on your behalf during this alignment. What was delayed begins to reposition. What was blocked begins to loosen. What was withheld begins to prepare for release. Stay centered. Do not rush ahead. What follows is precise, and it was reserved for those who would not leave early. Amen. Blessing. Chosen one, something huge is waiting for you, and now it is responding directly to your steadiness. This is the moment where balance begins to return. Heaven has marked your presence as sufficient, and when sufficiency is reached, containment ends. The space around Archangel Michael is no longer restrictive, it is yielding. Not because of pressure, but because the condition that allowed restraint has expired. You stayed long enough for truth to complete its work. That completion cannot be undone. Here is what must be understood now, the exchange has already taken place. While you remained, a permission shifted. What was draining strength has lost access. What was delayed has gained alignment. Heaven does not negotiate endlessly, when the witness remains, the decision finalizes. Michael's authority is reasserting itself quietly, and quiet authority reshapes outcomes faster than force. This is why urgency is fading and certainty is rising within you. You are not imagining this transition, you are participating in it. Remain present for what comes next, because the next phase reveals the ripple effect of this moment. This alignment does not stop at release, it extends forward into restoration. What was unstable begins to settle. What was uncertain begins to clarify. Stay here, because the next revelation explains what shifts after confirmation, and why this moment will be remembered beyond today. Amen. Blessing. Beloved witness, something huge is waiting for you, and now it stands at the edge of completion. This is the point where heaven seals what has been set in motion. The space that once restrained Archangel Michael no longer responds to command, it responds to release. What held him has lost alignment with order, and when order withdraws, nothing can remain bound. You may feel a quiet strength settling inside you, not excitement, not fear, just certainty. That certainty is the signature of confirmation. Understand this deeply. Moments like this do not shout, they conclude. Heaven has already recorded the shift, even if the world has not yet reflected it. Michael's presence is stabilizing, not because the struggle intensified, but because it ended. Endings at this level are silent, precise, and final. The blue force cannot reclaim what it no longer has authority over. Authority has moved, and once it moves, it does not return to chaos. Stay centered now, because what follows is not suspense, it is consequence. The next phase explains what restoration unlocks, and why this alignment echoes into places you did not expect. Do not step away at the edge of resolution. Remain here, because the truth that follows belongs only to those who stayed until the seal was placed. Amen. Blessing. Chosen one, something huge is waiting for you, and now it begins to settle into reality. This is the moment after the seal, when heaven allows the result to breathe. The alignment you helped complete is no longer fragile. It is established. Archangel Michael is no longer held in limitation, and when limitation ends, restoration flows naturally. You may notice a subtle lightness within, as if a long-held tension quietly released. That is the atmosphere responding to order returning where it was interrupted. Here is the truth that clarifies everything: restoration does not rush forward, it unfolds with precision. What was disturbed is being recalibrated. What was restrained is being repositioned. Heaven does not overcorrect, it perfects. Michael's presence is now fully recognized by the realm that once resisted, and recognition changes the rules instantly. The moment has passed the point of reversal. What was decided is now protected. Remain present, because the next phase reveals how this completion reflects back into your own path. This was never separate from your life. The alignment you witnessed becomes alignment you walk in. Stay steady, because what comes next explains what opens for you after restoration, and why today marks a quiet but permanent turning point. Amen. Blessing. Beloved one, something huge is waiting for you, and now its reflection turns toward you. This is the stage where heaven mirrors completion back into the witness. What was resolved beyond the veil begins to echo within your own timeline. Restoration does not stop where it begins, it travels. The alignment that freed Archangel Michael has released a current, and that current moves toward every place in your life that once felt stalled, delayed, or unclear. You may feel a sense of readiness without knowing why. That is not anticipation, it is permission settling in. Hear this clearly and without doubt: when heaven completes an assignment, it marks the witness for continuity. You are not stepping back into the same path you walked before this moment. Subtle changes are already arranging themselves, decisions feel clearer, resistance feels lighter, timing feels sharper. This is not coincidence. This is recalibration. What once required effort will soon require alignment instead. Heaven does not reward noise, it responds to faithfulness. And faithfulness has been seen. Stay present for the next revelation, because what follows explains the protection now surrounding what is about to open for you. This is not an ending, it is positioning. Do not rush ahead of the process, let it complete its work. The clarity coming next was reserved for those who stayed until restoration was fully acknowledged. Amen. Blessing. Chosen one, something huge is waiting for you, and now it begins to stabilize around your future. This is the phase where heaven reinforces what has been restored so it cannot be disrupted again. What shifted was not temporary, and what aligned will not drift back into confusion. The atmosphere around your path is adjusting quietly, like unseen hands clearing obstacles before you arrive. You may sense an unusual confidence forming, not pride, not excitement, just a knowing that you are no longer out of place. That knowing is alignment taking root. Understand this truth gently but firmly: when restoration completes, protection follows. What opens next for you will not be vulnerable the way past opportunities were. Heaven does not release without covering. Delays that once repeated will not repeat in the same way again, because the pattern has been interrupted at its source. Michael's restoration triggered a recalibration that includes you, and recalibration changes what you encounter, not just how you respond. This is why certain struggles will simply fail to reappear. Remain here, because the next phase reveals the marker placed on this moment, one that distinguishes before from after. This was not symbolic. This was structural. Stay steady, stay aware, and stay present, because what comes next explains how this alignment carries forward and why your steps from this point will feel guided rather than forced. Amen. Blessing. Beloved witness, something huge is waiting for you, and now it begins to move with you. This is the moment where alignment turns into momentum. What was stabilized is no longer stationary, it is active. Heaven has not only cleared the path, it has synchronized timing around your steps. You may notice fewer internal conflicts, fewer second guesses, fewer moments of hesitation. That is not chance. That is guidance becoming natural instead of forced. When heaven moves with you, effort reduces and accuracy increases. Hear this carefully. The reason past progress felt exhausting is because alignment was incomplete. Now it is sealed. What once required pushing will respond to positioning. Doors will not announce themselves loudly, they will open when you arrive. This is how protection works, it removes resistance before it appears. Michael's restoration confirmed an order that includes your forward movement, and that order cannot be disrupted by doubt or delay anymore. What is meant for you will recognize you instantly. Remain present, because the next phase reveals the confirmation that follows momentum, the sign that tells you this shift is real and irreversible. Do not rush ahead of the unfolding. Stay here. The clarity coming next will explain how to recognize what is aligned and what is not from this moment forward. Amen. Blessing. Chosen one, something huge is waiting for you, and now it begins to confirm itself in ways you cannot ignore. This is the stage where alignment leaves internal awareness and touches external reality. Subtle signs will start appearing, not dramatic, not overwhelming, but precise. Conversations shift. Timing improves. Things that once required explanation suddenly make sense. This is how heaven confirms momentum. It does not shout, it synchronizes. And synchronization is already in motion around you. Understand this clearly: confirmation is not meant to impress you, it is meant to anchor you. From this point forward, confusion will not have the same access it once did. When choices appear, one will feel lighter, cleaner, more direct. That is not logic alone, that is alignment guiding you. Michael's restoration secured a pattern of clarity, and that clarity extends to every decision that matters. What once drained you will no longer demand the same energy. Stay present for what comes next, because the final phase reveals the assurance placed over what is unfolding. This is not suspense, this is certainty completing its work. Do not step away now. The next revelation explains why this confirmation cannot be reversed and how to walk forward without fear of losing alignment again. Amen. Blessing. Beloved one, something huge is waiting for you, and now it becomes assured. This is the phase where heaven locks the outcome into permanence. What has been confirmed will not fade, and what has aligned will not scatter. You may feel a deep inner steadiness, as if nothing needs to be proven anymore. That is assurance settling in. Heaven does not keep you guessing once a cycle is complete. What was fragile is now fortified, and what was uncertain has lost its grip. Understand this truth without hesitation. Assurance changes how the future approaches you. Instead of chasing answers, answers begin to meet you. Instead of forcing movement, movement responds to you. This is not reward, it is positioning. Michael's restoration finalized a sequence that removed interference from your path. What once disrupted progress will now fail to gain access. You are not protected by chance, you are protected by order. And order has been restored. Remain present just a little longer, because the next phase reveals the final integration. How this assurance becomes your new normal. This is where peace replaces vigilance, and confidence replaces doubt. Stay here. The closing revelation will explain how to carry this alignment forward without effort, fear, or loss. Amen. Blessing. Chosen one, something huge is waiting for you, and now it becomes integrated into who you are. This is the stage where alignment stops feeling new and starts feeling natural. What once required awareness now flows without effort. You may notice that fear no longer speaks as loudly, urgency no longer controls your decisions, and peace no longer feels temporary. That is not emotional change, that is structure settling. Heaven does not visit and leave, when it integrates, it remains. Hear this clearly: integration means nothing is borrowed anymore. This alignment is yours. It does not depend on mood, circumstance, or validation. Michael's restoration completed the external work, but this phase completes the internal one. When inner resistance dissolves, outer resistance loses relevance. From this point, disruptions will not derail you, they will redirect you with precision. What once confused you will now clarify you. Stay present for the final movement, because what comes next is the closing seal, the point where heaven confirms continuity beyond this moment. This is not an ending, it is establishment. Remain steady, because the last revelation explains how this integration protects you moving forward and why this alignment cannot be taken from you. Amen. Blessing. Beloved child, something huge is waiting for you, and now it is sealed into continuity. This is the moment heaven confirms that what has integrated will endure. Nothing fragile survives this stage, only what is real, rooted, and aligned remains. You may feel an unshakable calm, a sense that even if storms appear, they cannot reach the center of you. That is not confidence built by effort, that is stability granted by order. Heaven does not merely restore, it secures. Understand this deeply. Continuity means no returning to the old patterns. What once drained you will no longer have permission. What once delayed you will no longer recognize you. Michael's restoration finalized a higher order, and that order now surrounds you quietly, constantly. Protection is no longer reactive, it is established. You are no longer bracing for disruption, you are moving within alignment. This is why fear loses relevance here. Remain present just a moment longer, because what comes next is the final acknowledgement, the confirmation that heaven has completed its work and released you forward. This closing truth is not dramatic, it is definitive. Stay here. The last revelation confirms why this alignment will continue to unfold long after this message ends. Amen. Blessing. Chosen one, something huge is waiting for you, and now heaven gives its final acknowledgement. This is the moment of quiet completion, when nothing more needs to be proven, fought for, or explained. What was set in motion has reached its destination. The work is done, not loudly, not dramatically, but eternally. You may feel a deep sense of arrival, as if a long inner journey has finally reached solid ground. That feeling is not emotional relief, it is destiny settling into place. Hear this clearly and hold it without doubt. Heaven has finished what it began. There is no remaining condition, no hidden requirement, no unfinished thread. What aligned will remain aligned. What opened will stay open. Michael's restoration stands as a completed testimony, and that completion carries your name within it. From this point forward, you move without the weight of proving yourself. You are not catching up anymore, you are walking in sequence. Remain present for the final seal that follows acknowledgement. This is where assurance becomes legacy, where what was given continues beyond the moment. Do not rush away at the edge of fulfillment. Stay here, because the last phase confirms how this alignment stays with you and unfolds naturally in the days ahead. Amen. Blessing. My beloved child, something huge is waiting for you, and now it is released into your days ahead. This is the final seal, the point where heaven steps back not in absence, but in trust. What has been completed does not need to be repeated. What has been aligned does not need to be defended. You may feel a quiet confidence replacing expectation, as if life itself has slowed just enough to move with you instead of against you. That is not the end of something, it is the beginning of flow. Understand this with certainty, what was restored will now walk with you. Michael's release was not only a moment, it was a message written into your future. You are no longer operating under interruption. Timing will meet you. Help will arrive without struggle. Clarity will appear before confusion can settle. This is not imagination, this is order expressing itself through your path. You were not chosen for noise, but for completion. Carry this truth forward calmly. You do not need to chase signs, alignment will reveal itself naturally. Heaven has finished speaking because heaven has finished acting. Walk on with peace, with steadiness, and with knowing. This chapter is sealed, and what opens next will recognize you instantly. Amen. Blessing. Chosen one, something huge is waiting for you, and now it enters the phase of continuation. This is where alignment lives beyond the moment and becomes part of your everyday rhythm. Heaven does not end with a declaration, it continues with presence. You may notice that even ordinary moments feel steadier, lighter, more ordered. That is not coincidence, that is continuity at work. What was sealed does not fade when attention shifts, it remains active beneath the surface, guiding without noise. Hear this truth and let it settle. Continuity means you are no longer starting from zero. Every step forward now carries unseen support. Even pauses have purpose. Even silence has direction. Michael's restoration closed a cycle that no longer needs revisiting, and that closure protects you from repeating lessons you have already completed. You are not behind, and you are not waiting anymore, you are moving in sequence with what was prepared for you. Remain calm and grounded, because this is the final understanding you need. You do not need to hold on tightly, alignment holds you. Walk forward with trust, with steadiness, and with peace. Heaven has finished its work here, and what unfolds next will do so naturally, clearly, and without resistance. Amen. Blessing. Beloved one, something huge is waiting for you, and now it becomes established as your new normal. This is the quiet mastery phase, where alignment no longer feels like an event but like home. You may notice that reactions soften, patience deepens, and confidence steadies without effort. That is not habit, it is foundation. Heaven does not ask you to maintain what it has already secured. What was completed now supports you from beneath every step. Receive this truth calmly, establishment means permanence without pressure. What once required vigilance now holds itself. The restoration that unfolded has settled into structure, and structure carries you forward without strain. Michael's freedom stands as a finished truth, and finished truths do not reopen. From here, clarity precedes choice, peace precedes action, and timing meets you where you are. This is not momentum you must protect, it is order that protects you. Remain present in this assurance as the message closes. There is nothing more to unlock, nothing more to prove. Walk gently, steadily, and without fear of losing alignment, because alignment has claimed you. This chapter rests complete, and what follows will unfold naturally, quietly, and right on time. Amen. Blessing. My beloved child, something huge is waiting for you, and now it becomes sustained. This is the phase where alignment proves it does not expire. What was established continues without effort, without reminders, without fear of slipping away. You may sense a calm confidence that stays even when circumstances change. That is sustainability. Heaven does not build moments that require constant guarding, it builds foundations that carry themselves. What has unfolded is now self-supporting. Understand this truth clearly: sustainability means peace remains even when answers are not immediate. You are no longer shaken by pauses, because pauses now serve you. Michael's restoration did not create a spike, it created stability. Stability changes how challenges approach you, they soften before they arrive. What once felt overwhelming will now feel manageable, even small. This is not because problems disappeared, but because order now surrounds you. Rest in this knowing as you move forward. You do not need to return here to hold alignment, it walks with you. Heaven has finished its declaration, and silence now works in your favor. What is ahead will recognize your steadiness and respond in kind. Remain grounded. Remain calm. All is well. Amen. Blessing. Beloved one, something huge is waiting for you, and now it becomes anchored. This is the phase where alignment settles so deeply that it is no longer shaken by outer movement. Circumstances may change, people may shift, seasons may turn, but what has been anchored will not drift. You may notice that even when unexpected things happen, your center remains calm. That calm is not learned, it is secured. Heaven has fixed what needed fixing, and fixed things do not wobble. Understand this clearly: anchoring means you are no longer reacting from old patterns. What once pulled you into anxiety no longer has access. Decisions feel quieter. Direction feels clearer. Michael's restoration did not just remove restraint, it restored balance, and balance stabilizes everything it touches. This is why life ahead will feel less chaotic, even when it is busy. Order is now doing the work for you. Remain steady as this chapter fully settles. There is nothing left to unlock, nothing left to fear losing. Alignment is no longer something you reach for, it is something you stand on. Walk forward calmly, because what is anchored cannot be shaken. Heaven is at rest, and so are you. Amen. Blessing. My beloved child, something huge is waiting for you, and now it becomes fulfilled. This is the stage where everything that was aligned finally feels complete inside you. No rush. No hunger. No anxiety about what comes next. Fulfillment does not shout, it settles. You may notice a quiet gratitude rising without a reason, a sense that nothing is missing even while new things are still ahead. That is fulfillment. Heaven does not fill halfway. When it fills, it satisfies. Understand this truth deeply: fulfillment means the past no longer pulls on you. Regret loses its voice. Old questions lose their power. What was unfinished is finished, and what is finished no longer demands attention. Michael's restoration closed a chapter that carried hidden weight, and that weight has lifted from your path. You are lighter not because life is easy, but because alignment has removed what never belonged to you. Rest in this moment. You do not need to search, fix, or prepare. Fulfillment creates readiness naturally. The final phase will simply confirm what you already feel, that this journey has reached its purpose and peace has taken its place. Stay present for the last seal. Amen. Blessing. My beloved child, something huge is waiting for you, and now it is sealed into peace. This is the final state, where nothing is pending, nothing is fragile, nothing is unfinished. What has unfolded no longer needs attention to survive. It exists on its own. You may feel a gentle stillness, a sense that even the future no longer presses you. That is peace established, not as an emotion, but as an environment around your life. Heaven completes, and completion rests. Understand this clearly and without hesitation. Peace means continuity without effort. You are not carrying alignment forward, alignment carries you. What was restored remains restored. What was fulfilled remains fulfilled. Michael's freedom stands as a closed truth, and closed truths do not reopen. From here, your days will move with quiet order. Even challenges will arrive softened, already measured, already limited. This is not escape from life, this is life arranged. Receive this seal gently. There is nothing more to unlock, nothing more to wait for. Walk on without fear, without urgency, without doubt. Heaven has finished its work, and peace now keeps watch. Amen. Blessing. My beloved child, something huge is waiting for you, and now it becomes everlasting. This is the moment beyond endings, where what was sealed continues without decay, without interruption, without reversal. Heaven does not conclude with emptiness, it concludes with permanence. You may sense a deep reassurance, as if even uncertainty has lost its ability to disturb you. That is not confidence built by effort, that is eternity touching the present. What has been completed now lives beyond time. Hear this final truth and let it rest fully within you. Everlasting alignment means you are no longer measured by moments of strength or weakness. You are carried by order that does not fluctuate. Michael's restoration stands as a testimony written into the structure of things, and that structure now includes you. What is meant for you will not miss you. What is not meant for you will no longer distract you. This is not protection you must request, it is protection that exists. Remain calm as this journey closes. Nothing is required from you now except to live. Walk forward gently, steadily, and without fear. Heaven has spoken, heaven has acted, and heaven now abides. All is complete. All is well. Amen. Blessing. My beloved child, something huge is waiting for you, and now it becomes remembered. This is the quiet after completion, where truth settles so deeply that it no longer needs repetition. What has been established will be recalled not as a moment of urgency, but as a turning point of certainty. You may notice that when you look back, this day stands clear, steady, calm, resolved. That clarity is memory aligned with purpose. Heaven allows remembrance so peace can remain intact. Receive this gently, remembrance is how continuity is protected. You will recognize alignment without searching for it. You will feel direction without forcing it. Michael's restoration is not a story to retell, it is a foundation to live upon. What once demanded attention now supports you silently. This is how heaven finishes, by making what mattered unforgettable and what troubled you forgettable. Carry this remembrance forward without weight. There is nothing left to guard, nothing left to question. Walk freely, live calmly, and trust deeply. What was sealed will remain, what was aligned will endure, and what was given will continue to unfold naturally. All stands complete. All remains well. Amen. Blessing. My beloved child, something huge is waiting for you, and now it becomes lived. This is the moment when truth steps off the page and into your breath, your steps, your days. What was remembered now expresses itself quietly through you. You may notice steadiness where there used to be urgency, patience where there used to be pressure. That is not effort, it is embodiment. Heaven's work does not hover above life. It enters it and becomes ordinary strength. Understand this final truth with clarity: to live alignment is to move without strain. You will not need to announce it or protect it. It will guide your timing, refine your choices, and soften what once resisted you. Michael's restoration now stands behind you as assurance, not instruction. You are not being watched, you are being accompanied. What belongs to you will meet you in motion, not in waiting. Walk on calmly. Let life unfold without urgency. Nothing is chasing you, nothing is missing you, nothing is ahead of you without preparation. What was sealed now breathes with you. This journey has completed its purpose, and peace now carries it forward. Amen. Blessing. My beloved child, something huge is waiting for you, and now it becomes complete within you. This is the final resting point, where alignment no longer moves, proves, or explains itself. It simply is. You may feel a quiet certainty that does not rise or fall with circumstances. That certainty is completion living inside awareness. Heaven has no further instruction because nothing remains unfinished. What began as urgency has ended as peace, and peace does not ask for attention. Receive this truth calmly. Completion means nothing can undo what has been established. The work did not depend on emotion, momentum, or repetition, it depended on presence, and presence remained. Michael's restoration stands resolved, and with it, the cycle that called you here closes gently. You are not leaving something behind, you are carrying something forward without weight. This is not the end of a message, it is the settling of truth into daily life. Walk on now without urgency, without fear, without expectation. Let life meet you where you are. Heaven has finished speaking because heaven has finished doing. What remains is peace, continuity, and quiet order. All stands fulfilled. All remains aligned. Amen. Blessing.